Hello and welcome everybody to the SMunger channel. This is your host Steve. Today I'm going to be going over a tutorial on how I make my BeamNG.drive script AI races for the SMunger Cup series. It's pretty much going to be a tutorial from start to finish on how I record my cars, how I line them up, the process and all of that. And I'm also going to be giving you an inside look at my Auto Club race that's coming up, race 3 of 8 of Season 1. I'm pretty much going to be recording those cars while I'm making this video, so it's going to be almost like 2 videos in one, except not really in one. So to start with, I'm going to start by spawning in a car. I'm going to start up with the Camaro, because I have a pace car skin for my series. So I always start with the pace car. That way, so the first car off the pit road is the pace car. Everybody's following in line. I already know the general placement of where my cars should fall in line for when they roll off pit road. But you want to start by pausing the game. That way, so the car isn't moving, it's not idling, it's just sitting there, spawned in, ready to go. And you want to make sure you have some sort of speedometer on your UI. You also want the road grip editor, the replay editor, the wind tool, as well as the cruise control tool. The cruise control tool will help you the most in like the pace laps, because you can set a specific speed and then watch the car just idle at that speed all the way around the track. You don't have to do anything else with the controls besides just steering the car around. And I'm going to set that to 90 miles an hour for Auto Club. That should be plenty of speed to get the car around the track, but not too fast. So I spawn it in, I let it roll forward, and then I respawn it before I start recording it. That way, so when the recording starts, it's already got some wheel spin on it. And then when I go to play it back later, the car will always want to jump as soon as it spawns in, and there's not much of a stalling issue. So you see, we're going to follow it up through turns 1 and turn 2. We're going to keep it around the middle lane. Maybe weave in and out a little bit if you want. It's not a big deal if it doesn't stay 100% straight, but you do want it to be as close to the middle of the track as possible. That way, so you can form an inside lane and an outside lane with your next group of cars. And with the pace car as well, since it's going to be the lead car, you don't want the cars behind it to run it over. So when we get up here into turn 3, I'm going to turn the cruise control tool up. I'm going to set it at 92 miles an hour. 91, yeah, I think 91 will work. So we're going to set it to 91, so that way it won't pull away, but it won't shorten the distance for the car on the bottom lane. It'll kind of balance itself out. Off turn 4, I'm going to pull off the track. I'm going to pull down pit road and just let it keep going. Hit the brake, hit the clutch, let it free roll. You want it to slow down as naturally as possible coming down pit road. Maybe you want to set your cruise control at 50 so it keeps a constant speed for a majority of the distance going down pit road. You don't have to. You could even just tap the throttle, tap, and hold the clutch in if you want. Either or is an option. But now we're going to pull just past box 1 here. We're going to park the pace car right here at the line. And then we're going to hit F11, go back into the world editor, and we're going to stop the recording there and then play it back. So now the car should follow this red line. This red line is the line that you put down. Now the AI is not exactly the smartest, so sometimes it's going to go a little to the right. The car goes a little tight. It's just the way the car is set up, and not only that, it's also partially with how the AI in the game in general is also set up. There's not really an easy way or a good way to fix that. This is where your road grip tool comes in. Because if you change the static friction up to like 1.6, 1.7, they'll see into the track a little bit better, and they won't walk off this line near as much, especially at race speed. Same thing with the gravity. If you turn that up to a 12.5, the gravity is pulling your car further down into the track. So with the static friction being higher and the gravity being stronger, your car is going to want to sit better, and it's going to sit more accurately on that line, on the path line for your car that you've already recorded. So now we're going to watch it come off turn 4. And I'm pretty happy with how the pace car is doing. Did a pretty good lap, so I think we're going to keep this. And then after it gets down to the end of pit road, you want to make sure that it doesn't do anything silly, doesn't do anything goofy, it doesn't like turn into the pit wall and start throttling up, or sometimes it does that. The AI gets a little goofy right at the end of the recording, so make sure once it comes to a stop that it stays at a stop and doesn't take off on you again, and should be all good to go. Yep. Oh, okay. And it respawned itself. So if you come in here and you hit the more button, see where it says loop? Turn that off and the car will not respawn itself on its own like that again. So we're just going to stop it here. And I'm going to start working on the pole sitter's car next. And I'm just going to jump to me having that car spawned in. Alright, so the next thing you're going to want to do is the pole sitter. For Auto Club, the pole sitter is Chad Jones in the 21, but you just want to have your pace car, you want to have your pole sitting car, and you, first things first, you want to set the cruise control, that way so you can get the car to have a rolling start. You let it roll forward a little bit, pause, respawn it, then go into World Editor, play back your pace car, start the recording for the pole sitter, and make sure to turn the loop off. That way, so when the pole sitter, not the pole sitter, that way when the pace car pulls off the track and is done, it doesn't respawn and roll back into traffic if you turn a loop off. If it's on, it'll just keep playing in a loop. So, and I hit my brake coming off pit road, so I'm going to have to reset that up. My apologies. So, again, put your cruise on first, play the car, respawn the car, and then start the recording for the car. And you want to keep about a car length and a half to 2 car lengths behind the pace car if possible. Preferably use your clutch because it won't shut off your cruise control. If you hit your brake, it will shut off your cruise control, and then you'll have to turn it back on, and the car won't keep rolling at the right speed, and you just have to keep, playing around with that. But if you want to utilize the cruise control to its full extent, use your clutch. I used the A button on my controller that I have plugged in. So, but you could do that. I think it's C on the keyboard. It's been a while since I've had the right controls for that. So you're gonna pull your the pole sitter onto the inside lane, going into turn number 3. Keep the inside lane at 90. On these bigger tracks, the outside lane is actually going to be going slower at the same speed. So if the inside car is 90 and the outside car is 90, the inside car is going to gap him because he's going a shorter distance. So put your outside lane at like 92, just in the corner and coming off the corner. Put it back to 90. They should line up pretty good at that point. When you get to those 2 lines on the inside, at the very start is where I like to hit the gas. And then coming down the straightaway, almost into turn 1 at the end of the pit road where the wall is, where it ends, that's when I clutch in, tap my brake a couple of times, let it roll through the corner, nice and easy. Get back on the gas about halfway through 2. It's okay for the car to be a little bit slow because when you play with the camera in cinematic mode, it really doesn't look that slow, but these cars really aren't going that fast because they tend to drift up higher than you really want them to. They tend to be a little tight. So we're going to go up high in 3 and 4. You don't really want to go above the second lane or else you will get into the wall. And I'm going to go ahead and speed it up for the next few laps because we're just going to repeat the same thing for the next 6 laps. That's how long we're going to be doing this race. Alright, the damage isn't too bad. I smacked the wall coming off of 4 there, but it's driving straight, so we're going to leave it like that. But we're going to put it back down on the bottom here for a few laps. But at the end of 6 laps, what you're going to want to do is you don't have to hit your brake, but you can just stop your playing on the gas. I drive it on gas. I don't actually set speed for the laps. I'm just holding the gas pedal down. I'm getting as much speed as I can on the cars. But at the end of lap 6, whatever you want to do, just let off the gas, let it free roll, but set the cruise control back on to 90. It's not going to lock up your brakes or make you slow down real fast, but it will allow you to just coast down to 90 and then stay at 90, and you don't have to worry about getting back on the gas. So I'm going to go ahead and cut ahead. That way so we can just watch the replay of the car going around making its laps. But he should maintain about a lap, or no, about a car length and a half back. And at this point is when I like to play around with the road grip editor some. I only really do the static friction, and I put that at about 1.6, 1.7. It helps the car sink into the track a little better. Hydrodynamic function is good at bringing the car more grip, like a lot more grip, but if you hit the wall with it at 0.01, the car is liable to do some wacky stuff sometimes, so I don't put it on for the sake of trying to keep it kind of realistic. And turn your gravity up to about a 12, 12 and a half. You could even go up to 13, 13 and a half, because that's also pulling the car further down into the track. So between that and static friction, you should have enough grip in the car that it shouldn't want to walk up really above whatever the line is set for on it. For Chad Jones' case, it's going to be this red line here. I'm going to go ahead and speed it up here, that way so we don't have to watch 6 laps in real time, but he should pretty much stick to wherever we originally recorded the line, even where I hit the walls, the 2 times where I did. I believe it was once in 3 and 4, and then once getting into 1 and 2. I don't think I got it there. I might have clipped it. I definitely got it there. But he should sit right in the track the way I drove it. And it's not a lot of change in the grip, and it's not a lot of change in the gravity. But it is a lot of driving the car, like paying attention to how you run it into the corners. You do want to let up early for the corners. You do want to let it coast into the corner. You do want to let it free roll as much as physically possible, because when you're on the brake, it tends to lock up. And when it locks up, it gets tight and shoots into the wall. So if you just clutch in on entry, maybe tap the brake a couple of times before you start making your turn, and free roll the corner, most of the time it should stick to pretty much whatever you recorded it to be. And it's staying pretty close to the lines for the most part here in this recording too. At the end here, he should slow down coming into turn 1 and coast down to about 90, and then he will pull back down pit road and coast down into box number 1 for the end of the race. It's really not a difficult process, guys. It's just super time consuming. Like, I'm speeding this up 4 times and for 5-6 minutes of footage on end here, and this is still almost a 20-minute video. Alright, so he's going to go ahead and pull down into box number 1, and he should park it and not respawn, play on his own, just like how the pace car is down there. And again, it's just a long process. So I'm going to skip ahead to where I have more cars spawned in. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so at this point, you should have however many cars you want to spawn in and recorded. It is the same process every single time for every car, just drive it as hard and as fast as you can, but trying to keep it within 1 lane off the wall and certain distances off of each other. Try and keep it about a car length and a half is the easiest way to control it. On these rolling starts, you can use the clutch to slow down the lead cars and bring them towards the cars in the rear, and then bunch them back up for the start. See how they are in the right order, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, with the inside lane slightly ahead. And then coming down here into turn number 1, some of the cars have the ability to drive in a little deeper. Some of them are a little loose, some of them are a little tight. but they're making passes. They're even hitting 3 wide here on exit, but they have full range and full power to do whatever they want to do without running each other over. And as long as you are attentive of your speeds, especially on these bigger tracks, you don't really want to be doing much more than 140 here at like Auto Club in Michigan. Much faster than that and you'll shoot up into the wall. 135 and you'll seat the top lane pretty good. Cutting back to the leaders up here. But they're making passes on each other. They're able to change lanes. They're able to drive in deep. They're able to do stuff. And it's a lot of attention to detail, more or less. The more you learn to, and I use a controller because it's a lot easier to drive with a controller than it is with a keyboard, especially if you don't have a wheel. That's all I've really got on there. I have a wheel, I just don't use it a whole lot. But I mean, it's not difficult. It's really not difficult. It's just, who really has all day to sit here and do it, you know? But you can make them change lanes. You can make them slow down for the corners later. You can make them slow down a little earlier. You can make them get 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide. But as long as you keep it within like just above that white line and about a lane and a half off the wall, like where Cackard is coming up on the outside right here, you should have no problems being able to do that as long as you are just super attentive on your speeds coming into your corners and like your grip settings, the whole 9 yards. It's just a lot of it's just a lot of detail. Okay. And I'm surprised it took him 3 laps to actually make enough contact to make him wreck. Alright. Well, I think I'm going to end it here, guys. There's not a whole lot more I can add on to it. You can do this with 5 cars. You could do this with 15. You could do it with 18, however many you want to do, or however many your system can handle. But it's the same process over and over. You're just driving a car around the track without hitting the wall as little as possible. If you guys found this helpful, give it a like. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and drop a subscribe. This is Steve. I'll see you guys next time.